Thank you, sir. It was a very insightful presentation. So I have already received few questions from the participants. I'll start reading them one by one. So
Sure.
moving on to the first question is, do you foresee going forward that organizations, specifically the board of directors, will stress more on early threat detection and mitigation? And what are the some actions you would recommend to ensure that they are secured?
Okay. So, if you look at board of directors, there are organizations which are in the advanced stage. There are organizations which are not there in those advanced stage of cybersecurity. So, if you look at the role of a CISO is to present it to board of directors. What are the threats for the organization, and what will happen if we don't take care of it? But when you represent to the board, okay, you have to highlight the risk. You don't talk about the technology. You talk about uh, what will be the loss of the brand image, the loss of production, the loss of revenue. Okay, so that is where CISOs plays a major role when they present to the board. And if you present it correctly, board will definitely understand. I have been I have been part of such meetings where we have looked at it, we have presented it, and then board has taken a notice of it and said, okay, you run the program and you ensure that the system are secure. So there are multiple things you can do. You can run a cyber security and risk assessment, and then you present it to the board. Okay, this is what our safe score is. These are the vulnerability within the system, and because of this, what are the risks as an organization we have? So, what is the risk on your brand image? What is the risk on your production? What is the risk on your revenue? So, you present it in that manner in a business scenario, giving a business scenario, then definitely it will have an impact. And for the recommendation is, you know it depends on organization to organization, but generally what as a CISO or a CIO, what you should be doing is, uh, the regular audits have to happen, the regular VAPT has to happen. And when I am talking about, I am not talking about only the IT part of it. It is IT and OT both. You have to do it, because IT is one piece of it, OT is a critical infrastructure that you have. So you have to do for that, and you have to present that report to your CEO, then to your board members and all that. So this has to be a standard guidelines within your organization, that this is what we will do. We will, you run it whether every 6 months or once in a year, that is up to you. That those guidelines you can define depending on organization to organization and how complex your systems are.
Okay.
But yeah, this is how you can do. I hope I have answered.
Yes, sir. Thank you. So we have Manoj Lala who is raising his hand. So I'll just unmute him.
Yeah.
Good morning. It was a good session, knowledgeable. As you specified, this Modbub is more dangerous to be used, and it is being used by maximum of the company. Why so they are using, knowing it is a huge risk? Any specific reason that is being used majorly?
See, because Modbus is kind of a open protocol which works on all the SCADA system. But if you look at, there are proprietary protocols also. Siemens has their proprietary protocol. ABB has their proprietary protocol. So it depends on the organization that what protocol they are trying to use. Okay. So if you are using, sometimes what happens, because of the proprietary protocol, some other system does not work. So they try to use a standard Modbus protocol. So now what has happened, the OPCA also has started coming into SCADA, which is more secured. So people will eventually move over there. But because this SCADA is the average life of a SCADA system is 25 years. And if it has been implemented just 5-10 years back, then people do not change the system that frequently. Like if you look at organization in IT side, we have policies, every 3 years or 4 years, we will refresh all the laptop desktops. Every 5-6 years, we will replace the servers, because those are not a huge cost. When you look
Correct.
at SCADA system, these are very huge costs. To move from Windows CE to Windows 7, sometimes the OEM says, to do that, I will charge you 10 crores, 15 crores. So it's a huge amount.
Okay.
So that's where, as a CISO or as a CIO, we have to see, okay, if we know these are the threats or the vulnerabilities in the system, what I need to do around it so that I can minimize those impacts.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Manoj Lala. So we have a question from Mr. Shankar. He's asking, as far as protection strategy of IoT, ICS, uh, SCDA systems are concerned, it is not very different from what we do for cybersecurity for IT systems. Is there anything which is basically different?
So no, it is not different. That's what I said. It is the same. But there are certain things that you can take advantage, because see, there are firewalls which have inbuilt ICS SCADA protocols available to protect them. Okay, so there is a difference between a standard firewall which is available and there is a firewall which has built-in ICS protocols available for protection. So these are some of the different things that you can do it. Otherwise, I have listed out what exactly you need to do, because eventually, what is this ICS SCADA system? These are also IT system only, but these are working with the critical infrastructure. Okay, so if you look at the human machine interface system, what it is, it will show you the pictorial view of your manufacturing unit. It will show you the centrifuge, it will show you the inverter, it will show you the heat exchanger, and it will show you that how the flow is going. Okay, all those things will show you. And on the IT side, other way around, if you do, you will see, okay, how is my network? Okay, what are the router switches which are red, green, yellow? Similarly, on the ICS side, you will see, okay, is my centrifuge in green, or it is going to amber, because the rotation frequency has increased. So these are the only different. But yes, protection you have to do. The reason there is a little difference is, the old ICS SCADA system used to come with embedded system like Windows CE, and today's new generation SCADA system will come with Windows 10 also. So otherwise, yes, from the cybersecurity side, the difference is, for us, it is there is no difference.
Okay. Thank you, sir. So, Vasanta Kumar is asking how to stop services in IoT devices. Example in IoT camera, how to stop UPnP service.
See, configuration is something that you will have to talk to the OEM whether they allow you to do it or not. You can stop those services. It depends on the manufacturer to manufacturer. Okay. The simple example earlier we spoke about, why can't I stop my Modbus and use some different protocol? But if I am using my older machine, which I don't have a different protocol available, it was Modbus protocol which was running. And if I have to upgrade a protocol and change to a different protocol, which is a huge cost to me. So, and whether the OEM will allow or not. So if I am running with a certain kind of a protocol and the OS, whether there is an upgrade available or not. So how to stop UPnC service and all that, definitely you'll have to talk to your OEM, and if they say yes, they allow you, and there is a other way to work with it, and this is what the workaround, then that's what you'll have to do. Otherwise, you'll have to see what are the security measures you can put into place so your threat is minimized. Like I showed you the architecture, that layers of segmentation was done to put the SCADA system in place, where each and every layer had a different kind of a protection available.
Okay. Thank you, sir. I hope this answers Mr. Vasant Kumar very well. Uh, so we have a question coming from Mr. Avinash. Considering its IoT security, what is the best remote technology to use?
So there is nothing called a best remote technology. It is kind of a defense in depth how you do it. Okay. So when you want, like simple example, sometimes you want to do a patch upgrade to your or firmware upgrade for your SCADA system, and you give it to OEM. So you do not expose it to directly to internet. Okay. So how do we do it? Like in IT side, we create a jump server. We give the access through jump server. Through jump server, they will come into our local area network, and then they will have access to a particular system, and then they do the upgrade. So that is how you have to control this. And in today's scenario, if you look at when we talk about SOC, Security Operations Center, okay, there are, I can count maybe couple of organizations who will have partners who will have uh, expertise in IT and OT both. Okay, so because when we talk about SOC, we always talk about only the IT system. That scenario has changed today. You have to talk about SOC, which should comprise of your IT and OT both. I should be able to see entire my IT and OT system in my SOC, and I should be able to manage it. So that's what the next phase is, that how do you do that? And
Okay.
there are very few partners who can do IT and OT SOC as of today, and that is the way to go for it. That you have one SOC for IT and OT. And for remote access, what I suggested, that this is how you should do. If partner is asking, no, I can come through internet, it is not feasible. You have to say, okay, I'll give you the jump server. You come through jump server, because in jump server you have logs available, what is going on, who is logging in. Then you give access to your particular machine where they have to go and do the patch upgrade. I hope that answers.
Yes, sir. So are there any secure alternatives to Modbus?
So as I showed you, there are a lot of other protocols which are available that you can use. I can just go to those different protocols which are available. But then it will depend on whether your systems, whether your manufacturing systems will support those or not, or whether your SCADA machine is supporting or not. Okay. So there is a IEC protocol. Siemens has their protocol. Uh, so there are different protocols available if you look at.
Okay. Mr. Shrikant is asking, how do we identify asset and patch firmware in OT area? Is there any tools available?
Yes, there are a lot of enterprise asset management products available for OT area. There are partners in India who are doing that, who will identify they can do the entire enterprise asset management for OT area. And I would suggest, when you identify, this is my personal view, that you look at the product where similar to IT system, it can identify, okay, the firmware upgrade has come for your SCADA system or your ICS system, and this needs to be applied. But again, when you want to apply any firmware or anything to your OT system, you have to be very, very careful. You have to do in conjunction with your business, in conjunction with your OEM, that if I apply this firmware, it will not impact my production, or it will not impact any other integration that I have done? And if it does, what are the things that I need to take care before I apply the patch? Similar to what we do in IT side.
Okay. Thank you, sir. So, Mr. Avinash is asking how to protect against spear phishing attacks via compromised accounts.
So it is, see, it is all about the awareness. Okay. The major challenge today is not the outsider, it is the insider, it is the employees. Okay. So you have to run your cyber security awareness campaign. Okay. Please don't think that, okay, you have just released the communication once and I have done my job. You have to, it is like, when you look at this ads on the TV, it repeats again and again and again. Why? That will get into your system and that say, okay, this is the product which does this. So similarly, you have to run your campaign again and again and again, that guys, if you get emails from unknown source with an attachment, please do not open it. If you are opening it, then immediately inform your IT team that you have opened it by mistake. Please look into it, that what damage it would have caused. So you will have to do cyber security awareness campaign. There is nothing like a vaccine which is available to stop this spear phishing attack. And
Yeah.
generally, if you look at, these are the things uh, which matters. Awareness is the most important thing. Uh, Second thing, what you should do is, generally when the employee joins, you run an induction program and all that. Similarly, you run a cyber security awareness program. You have a mandate in your organization that every year people will have to go through cyber security awareness training, and they need to get certified on that. Certified means they don't have to do CISSP or something, but the basic training, that how to you manage your system, how care should be taken when you open an email or when you visit a website over a browser. Okay, basic cyber security fundamentals awareness certification that every organization should run every year, and person need to get certified.
Cybersecurity awareness is very necessary.
Yeah.
So the next question is, can you put some lights on how collaboration of IT and OT teams to address security concerns can be achieved?
See, the biggest thing with with us as IT guy, I'm telling you, when I say I am also IT guy, correct? The biggest thing with us is we don't interact with the business the way we need to. Okay, we always talk about technology. Please understand, these guys are, hands-on guys with the physical system. So for them, it is all Greek and Latin when we talk about cyber security, this, that, and all that. So you have to speak into their language. You'll have to learn. So that is where you have to learn the business. You have. So when I am talking about ICS SCADA system, you need to understand the different components of ICS SCADA. There are a lot of components. When I spoke about historian, you need to know what historian does. When I spoke about PLC, you need to know what PLC does. Okay, RTU, what RTU does. Okay, all those things, once you understand, and then you speak to your OT team. Okay, you have a informal discussion. Okay, guys, I need to understand your system. Okay, what are the things that you do? Then you see, while discussion, you come out, okay, this can cause a problem. Can we do something which will not give you sleepless night? You do that way. But otherwise, if you go, okay, you go to the operation head and you will say, okay, I need to do cyber security assessment for your system. I have to do this. That guy will say, get lost. I have to run a business. I can't allow you to do this. Okay. So that is how you have to speak into their language. You need to understand their challenges, and you say, this is how I will help you in your challenges. This is how we will protect the system together, and this will work. So that is how you have to do. You have to keep connect with the business. Unless and until you do that, you can't just go and force yourself. Oh, I am a cybersecurity guy. I have to do this on your system. That will not work.
Yeah, indeed, sir. How effective communication to management people can be done to have proper budgets approved?
So that is, see, the most important thing when you want to get your budget approval done. Okay, you don't say I want to. I'll give you a simple example on IT side first. Okay, suppose if you are running a ERP like SAP on a older version ECC, and then you suddenly go to a management. Okay, I need 10 crores. I want to upgrade to latest S4 HANA. Okay, they will straight away reject it, that if my system is functioning, why do I need to upgrade? Okay, and your budget will not get accepted. So similarly, when you are doing budgeting, whether it is IT or OT, you have to justify the business value. Okay, what is the business value that a business will get when I implement any system or when I want to protect the system? Okay, so when I'm talking about, suppose I want a budget to upgrade my OT system, and I said it runs into crores and crores. So we need to justify whether that upgrade is justifiable or not. So if you say, okay, I am using my OT system, 1 day of downtime, I will have loss of revenue of X crores. So if my OT system gets compromised and I have to fix it, there will be a 5 days of downtime, and I will lose money worth X number of crores. Vis-a-vis, if I do run this cybersecurity program and I do this upgrades and I do put this uh, in place, I will require only this much amount, which will be X minus Y crores. And this will save the loss of revenue. This will save brand image. Then the business will understand. Then it is their purpose whether that amount of money, cash flow is available or not. They may say, you take only the step 1 right now. Step 2, you do it manually. Okay, because once we get the cash flow, maybe we will do step 2 and 3. So as a IT guy, stop thinking in terms of technology. We have to think in terms of the business. Think it as if you are running your own business, and then the amount of money where you want to spend on expanding the business, you want to protect the system, but then this is how you justify that this is the business value you will have. Then you will get approval on your budget, or they will say why they don't want to give approval on it.
Thank you, sir. That was a very great perspective. How do you present to the board the kind of effort being put for initially planning for OT security projects and then showcasing the operational efforts and key performance indicators?
So what you have to do is you have to run a OT risk management program. Okay. The simple thing is, when you go to board, you don't talk in terms of technology and all that. It is all about the risk. Okay. So when you say, okay, I am going to run a risk management program, I am creating a risk management framework for the OT system. This is how the program will run. This is what the major milestone within the program. These are my KPIs. These are the KPIs how I will monitor, and this is the outcome I will get. This is the value I will get running this risk management program. So it's kind of, you have to show the big picture of it, not only the smaller picture. So it's kind of a bigger program you are running, entire the risk management framework for the entire OT system, and how you are going to handle it and how it will help the business when you run this program.
Okay. So do you believe manufacturing companies are still at an early stage of accepting Industry 4.0?
So there are companies which are already into that stage, those stage. So if you look at companies like GE and all that, big companies, and there are smaller industries also which are still not into that phase. So it is plus
Yeah.
and minus on both the sides. It depends on organization to organization how mature they are and whether they can reach that maturity or not. So, like initially, when we used to talk about security, we used to only talk about the old IT part of it. Today, we are matured enough that we are talking a lot about the OT part of
OT
it.
as well. Yeah. Thank you, sir. If participants have more questions, they can put in the chat window or raise their hands. So meanwhile, there's a question that uh, uh, what would you we would like to know, like, what message would you give to all the industry experts?
So,
One key message.
the key message is basically, in my learning for so many years, what I have understood, when you talk, when you want to drive your message to your leaders, okay, uh, don't talk in terms of technology and all that. Technology can do this, technology can do that, and all that. Talk in terms of what business value
Business value. Yeah.
I can bring in, or as a technology team we can bring in. This is how we will be partner with the business, so the agility what business requires will be there, because that is going to add value to them. See, today, because we compete in the market, okay, now to compete in the market, it is always a race. So unless your business is agile enough, you will always lose. So that is how you work with a business, that I am your partner, I will work with you, I will make you agile enough, so that you can compete in the market.
Right. Thank you, sir. If participants have any more questions, they can put, or else we are good to end the presentation today.
Yeah, so before we go on, Moini,
Yeah.
I just want before, yeah, I think we have taken care of all the questions very well about the industry and thing. So I have a community base which is more of students as well, and on behalf of them, I would like to ask you one question. So, like, when you are hiring, if there is a fresher or a student, you are about to hire, what do you expect them to learn apart from their college curriculum, and so that they fit into this industry 4.0?
See, Gaurav, in today's scenario, if you look at, there are a lot of online learning portals and everything is available. Um, Student have to decide, today, because I have been talking to, in fact, my kids also, I will tell you. So when I talk to them, I have to understand what exactly they want to do. We can always provide them guidance. Okay, this is the market today. So yesterday I was talking to one of the colleague, and uh, her sister was doing IT, and she was confused what she needs to do. So I told her that, what you have to do is you have to look at what is the uh, scenario as of today and what is the future. Okay, so if you look at in olden days, just to give you example, in olden days everybody wanted to become a chartered accountant because that was a trend. Okay, I will become a chartered accountant, that is what it is, that is the greatest profession I have today. Then came the scenario, everybody wanted to be a computer engineer. So I want to go to IT. But today's scenario is different. If you look at, there are a lot of streams that have come into picture within the IT also. So if you look at data scientists, if you look at cyber security, if you look at AI ML, so these are the different trends which have come into market. So for all students, you should be always hungry to learn. Okay, don't think that how much money I will make. If you are early starter, Just think where you want to be after 5 years or 10 years down the line, because this field is changing very fast in today's scenario. Okay. In our times, it was like, okay, I know ERP, I am the greatest because I am working for a ERP for Oracle or for SAP and all that. Today, that has become a commodity. ERP has become a commodity. So that's how this market is today. So what I would suggest is, if you want to excel, it is my personal view, you have to be a technologist, I'm saying. Okay. You become a technical guy, you are irreplaceable because of your knowledge. You become a SAP. I'll give you a simple example. I was in US for a few years, and I have seen people, they don't want to become a CIO or a manager. They are chief architect and principal architect. Why? Because that is the value they know. That even after they retire, they are being contracted for their knowledge. Today, after becoming a CIO, if you retire, you can just give lectures.
I think really.
That is the fact of life. Okay. But, and I'll give you my example. I am doing online learning today. I am doing a 6-month PGP program to learn cybersecurity. Even though I have been in this field, I try to keep myself upgraded. I still do hands-on. Okay. So
I know you are our most, the member, elite member, I say, or you have attended our most sessions, I guess. Right?
So that's where I would suggest that guys don't run after money, run after knowledge, because that is going to excel you. And you, once you have that knowledge, the money will automatically flow. That is how it is.
Great learning. And I think they have lot many options to go in, like, IoT, AI, ML, Python. But I say the coding is the must. They must learn coding, right? That's
Exactly.
and
See,
okay.
basic fundamentals you have to know. You need to know what is the programming logic. I have seen people when they write code, they directly open the notepad or coding screen and start coding. Guys, no, that is not the way to do. I'll tell you, the way we used to do is, we used to write a logic. We used to do a process flow diagram first, that how my program will work. And we used to do diagram. Okay, start the process, then conditional conditions, then whether yes or no and all. We used to write the algorithm first. And once we do that, the coding is a typist job. It is a 10 minutes job to code it once you have the logic available with you. So please do that way. That is how you should do. Because I have seen in today's scenario, you want to write a Python. Okay, the person will start typing it code, but don't do that way. You first put your thoughts on your piece of a paper and then start doing it. That will be much beneficial to you when you code. And like Gaurav, you said rightly, some of the fundamentals you need to know, even though you want to become a cyber security architect or a forensic expert or anything like that. Basic programming knowledge is necessary. I am not asking you that you become the expert, but at least you should have a basic programming knowledge, because when you are doing forensic, or when you are doing writing any AI ML code, or when you are looking at a OT part of it and all that, if you have this basic programming knowledge, it will be much easier for you to understand the system.
Exactly. Got it. And thanks for answering that. So, yep, I just see a few questions, maybe. Okay. So, no, nothing related to you. So, it's like, so I just like to answer those. So, PPT, yes. So, if you are a Plus member, you will get that PPT in the Plus Drive. And generally for CXO sessions, we don't do attendance. So, no attendance link for today. But I'll take this as a feedback, and we'll try that from next session. We will have attendance and feedback link for this as well. Yep.
Yeah.
So, yep, that's I think it. So, Moini, over to you.
Yeah, sir. Thank you very much, Mr. Apurva, sir, for taking this session. Honor to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great weekend
Fully
ahead.
right.
Bye.